Bonjour, hola, ciao, konnichiwa, and hello, everybody. Hope you having a great day so far, and welcome into another episode of the Weekendology Podcast. We're the only podcast with the hottest takes, the best talking points, and the stories to spark your weekend conversations. This is the show we talk about music, movies, sports, and more related to media, and give our takes on how we can change and improve them. So get your seatbelts on, Globetrotters, because we've got an episode that spans the entire world today.
Going international.
We're going international.
Is this available in Spanish, too?
It should be, if we can get Colin Kessler to translate into Spanish. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm your host, Will Deichley, alongside the main man himself, Aaron Berg.
That's me.
That's you. Thanks for joining us today, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
You are. I'm happy that you're here, too.
Thanks for having me stop by.
You're always welcome in the Deichley Studios here. So if you're new to the show, welcome. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. This episode is in collaboration with Colin Kessler of the Big Red World. They're a podcasting publishing platform with popular podcasts like Six Drunk, One Sober and The House That Rick Built. Go check them out on Twitter. They're at Big Red Social, and their website is bigredworld.org. Don't forget to give us a follow on Twitter as well, at Weekendology Pod. We are here to give you the best breaking news updates, all the great entertainment and ideas to get your conversation juices flowing.
We break news.
Exactly. We want to make sure we're your prime focus for this weekend, over the brunch table or dinner table or whatever you're doing.
Whatever table
weekend.
you're sitting
Whatever
at.
Table that you're sitting at. You're
or
guaranteed to be
at
sitting
table.
at a table this weekend. I can personally guarantee it. So
wow, that's strong. That's
unless
commitment.
you're like a marathon runner, you just run for the whole.
Or you're just
whole
relaxing at the pool and starting to warm up.
Maybe, yeah, you
See
could
these
be.
flip flops.
Yeah, it is nice and sunny here in Dallas this weekend. So I am.
I was excited, and I was like, you know what? It's March, shorts and t-shirt time. It's 86 degrees.
It's about time. Well, it's gonna drop the.
I know, that's why I had to take
days,
advantage.
Yeah,
now.
you might as well just do it now. So
got home and I
it is
changed.
officially daylight savings time, so it's going to be light longer. So it's screwed up my time clock for this whole week so far, but
Yeah, that's going to be an episode why we should change daylight savings to just not exist
that's
any
actually a
longer.
good idea. I like
just an
that
hour
idea.
of griping about daylight savings time.
Exactly,
Because it's stupid, and Arizona doesn't do it, and they work just fine.
Well,
So
it's
it's proven that we don't need it.
Exactly.
By a whole
Or
state.
just stay on daylight savings time forever. That way it's longer light. People save on their energy bills.
Yeah, just
people are
don't
just happier.
don't mess with your
Yeah,
clocks.
just don't mess with the clock.
Yeah.
So. But Aaron, we had to do it with the whole world in panic mode, schools closing, events being canceled, countries shutting their borders down. It is the plague that is spreading around the world, coronavirus. And we're doing a full episode on it.
Yeah, see, we had the epidemic episode, and now this is the pandemic episode.
Wow, you listened to me. Wow, thanks, Aaron. I throw some of these terms out there, and Aaron's like, "What's that?" And I'm like, explaining it to him. He's like, "Oh, that's cool," and everything.
What's that?
Wow.
What? Dude.
That was actually a good analogy.
You know what's funny,
for it.
though? So I was thinking about this today. The first episode we did, I didn't really know much about it. I feel like you educated me. And now it's like I'm an expert.
Now
like,
you're an expert.
I've been. I don't even need to go. So you did show me on Twitter how I can look at the news and I can look at other things.
Yes. Now you're consumed by it. So
well, now I will check the news, but I don't even need to do that because my feed
does it for
all
you.
coronavirus. So
well,
I can
yeah. So
get all the information I need.
The
right
plague
on there.
itself, coronavirus, and we were kind of debating on what we should do for this episode, but it's such an impactful thing that's happening within the world itself that we feel like we had to do it. We had to cover it while it's relevant.
I had to do it to them.
It is changing the world and how we live in it as we speak. So it's an important topic to cover. Hopefully it'll spark some conversations for you guys over the weekend. But we did do a What's Trending on this a few weeks back, so go check that out. But now it's time
go
for the
check it
full
out just to
episode.
compare. If you could just compare that episode to what we said to now, a week or two later.
Yeah,
It
was
would
about,
just
it was
I
about
haven't
2
listened
weeks
to
ago.
it, but we should.
It was about 2 weeks ago.
I want to listen to that, and then immediately after listen to this, and just see.
Well, this one's going to be like it has changed so much. It's gone into it's spread so much more rapidly now. It's now like a full on like social media hysteria. The world is freaking out at least from our perspectives from it. In the last episode, we sat we said that there's 80,000 confirmed infections with only a handful of deaths. Well, now the world sits at around 109,000 confirmed cases in over 95 countries with 3,800 deaths. So just in like 2 to 2.5 weeks' time, it has gone from something to monitor to a full-on like pandemic. People are freaking out. Toilet paper is sold out.
Residence is out of toilet paper.
Yeah, the water bottles are flying off the shelves. Hand sanitizers going for $50 a bottle or something. So
I know, I saw that. Is that real?
It is real. Yes, there's a lot of price gouging on survival goods and medical equipment and hand sanitizer. That just shows
just the worst part of human beings. Like, hey, you guys need this. We're gonna jack up the price of hand sanitizer. Like, just because we can and because we want to get more money. Like, what if that made more people sick?
For the masks as well, for like the hospital masks and everything.
That's not cool. That's bad.
No, it's bad.
That's like the drug companies. Who's a guy? What was his name? Martin Shkreli, is that his name? Where he like really bumped up the price of cancer drugs.
Doesn't sound familiar, but
you don't know about him.
I mean, I didn't know that was his name, but
yeah, he's in prison now, but he bumped up the price of drugs because
price gouging is illegal. Like, you can't.
It's insane, and it's like that's what they're doing. And just on a much smaller scale, but still, people could get sick, and
it is crazy how panic and fear kind of influences our own behaviors as humans. And the economy and pretty much everything we do, and we'll get into that as we go along. But yeah, I mean, just to have hand sanitizer go for $50 a bottle, or to have toilet paper, like there's like a shortage of it now. I mean, this has become more of a mass hysteria than anything else. So we're here to guide you through it.
2020.
It is like Y2K. We're here to guide you through it, though. We're here to kind of give you some updates on it.
We're gonna solve the problem.
We're gonna solve coronavirus.
We've pooled our minds this episode, and we're just gonna come out with a solution.
It's interesting because we're in kind of like uncharted waters when it comes to this, with impacting everyday life, how the future of how we handle global virus outbreaks, how we're handling this one right now. We really haven't had a virus outbreak like this since SARS back in 2003, but you didn't see as much press on it because obviously social media wasn't available back then. So I think people are kind of overblowing this a little bit. I'm not saying it's not an important thing to like watch out for and safeguard yourself against, but because Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Instagram is just blowing up with this, and its media and info is so readily accessible,
and then we're contributing to the problem.
Yes. But it becomes like, oh, everybody's doing this, or these people are doing this, and it gains traction, and it's boom, like a firestorm. Then it's like, oh, well, this is insane. I've never seen anything like this. So I don't know.
Yeah,
do you think that's true?
Yeah. You brought that up earlier today. This morning we were talking about what we were going to talk about today, and I thought that was really interesting to think about. Where is this really a big deal, or is it just because we're seeing it all the time? And
true.
I'm starting to be more on the fence, where I do think this is a big deal because obviously people are dying and it is serious. So I've changed my stance on it from 2 weeks ago. However, I mean, it's human nature where you see something, you're like, okay, no big deal. You see it again, you think about it a little more, you see it again, and each time you see it, your brain starts to think, okay, maybe this is like serious or something. Think about it. You might not know anything else than you did before you read that first post, but you see that fifth post,
right?
And it just weighs on you. And I think that's what's happening, where people are talking about it on all platforms. They're seeing it on social media. They're going out in public and hearing people talk about it just in general. And then they're thinking about it more. Yeah. And then I think they're convincing themselves that, wow, no, it's a big deal. I need to prepare. I need to be careful.
Right.
And then you get people wearing masks everywhere, doing goofy stuff like spraying themselves with aerosol. You see that, or the kid in Memphis with the trash bags over him, like just dumb crap.
That really
like,
doesn't do anything. But I agree with you. Yeah, after you continually see updates about it and you're flooded with
you just start
news
thinking
story
about
after
it
news
more.
story, you're like, well, maybe this is something I should be taking, note of. And it is.
Or you start questioning yourself. Yeah.
And it has become more dangerous as in the last couple of weeks, as I said. Italy is in a state of shutdown. The entire country is like a hotbed of the infection. They've closed their borders completely until the infection is contained. Schools are canceling classes all around the country. Businesses are issuing warnings of travel. The travel hospitality industry that we work in is being completely just shut down, freeze mode.
No cruises.
Yeah, like hotels, cruises, airlines, resorts is at a standstill for now. Even some of the games, professional soccer games in Italy, are being played behind closed doors. There's no fans being attended. There are other huge events are being canceled as well. So this is...
Well, now America, in like 2 hours
exactly.
ago, they announced NCAA tournament won't have fans at it.
Yeah,
which
is really going to be really
I heard
weird.
that a month ago, and I thought, come on, that's just stupid to say.
I didn't
and
think
then
they were
it
gonna
actually
do it.
happened. It's amazing.
South by Southwest got canceled.
Coachella's pushed
Coachella,
till
E3
October.
got canceled. That E3 is 3 months away.
Yeah.
Like that's in June, late June of this year.
That's what's crazy is it's not just stuff that's coming up in the next couple weeks. I mean,
Right.
These are months.
These
out
are months away.
It.
So all of these events are getting canceled, and it's causing, I think, more of like a domino effect. Like once one of these events got canceled, like the St. Patrick's Day parade, all the celebrations got canceled for this weekend here in Dallas. St. Louis is canceling a lot of things. I read online that there's just events sweeping across the board, or public gatherings of like 1,000 or more people are being banned.
Yeah.
Which stands to reason there would be no public gatherings then, because like why would you have an event?
And that's where I just think, where is this going to end? How long are we going to do this, and where are we going to draw the line of, okay, you can have this many people together. I mean, 1,000, that's nothing. That's
really nothing.
That's like 90% of concerts.
Yeah.
That's every sporting event. That's, trade shows, anything you can think of that people get together, and it's like, okay, people aren't showing up to work now.
No.
They're all working from home and quarantining themselves, which I understand. I'm not saying that's a bad thing completely, but this can get crazy to the point of people aren't going to leave their homes.
Yeah, and I have a couple points we'll get into kind of towards in the later parts of this podcast, but where does it stop, like you said, Aaron? And it's difficult to ascertain as to how far are we going to let it go, to where it affects our public and everyday lives, to where we don't do anything. But there might be some good points that we can come from this then. There's a lot of major global impacts that this virus influences and affects. Just to give you some background, the Black Death, which killed Europe's population
Kicking it old school
a long time ago, that actually led to a severe labor scarcity. But it also encouraged...
jobs are a little different back then.
Well, true. But this is to give you some history, Aaron, because I'm going to drop you some knowledge on you. But because of that, it encouraged people to be creative and come up with labor-saving technologies then. So,
like the wheel.
The Black Death did not occur back in the Stone Age or something.
That's how fire was discovered.
And more recently, in the 2003 SARS outbreak, it kind of helped jumpstart China's e-commerce sector. So there are things that come from this as
silver lining.
There's silver linings. So, that's not
money.
all panic and fear mongering for this episode. There's things that come of it, but it's interesting to see how it's going to affect our economy and our technologies and even our lives going forward, because there's been past precedents of this as things coming out of global crises or catastrophes like this as well. Like as you said, businesses are encouraging employees to go remote if they're not essential to the office functions. So, video conferencing traffic in North America and Asia has doubled since the outbreak began. Could this be the end of office life as we know it? Is this the end of going to the office and doing the the monotonous grind of driving to work, driving back?
I just think no. I think you're going to see people kind of embrace that culture a little more because they're seeing that it can be done. But I think that it's not going to affect business too much because there's so much technology. people use Skype anyway. We use it daily at our jobs, and video conferencing is just always.
But could this be like the push that some businesses need to say, okay, we can implement
for you to get with the times. We needed
home.
a global pandemic.
That's what it takes sometimes, unfortunately.
I don't think it's gonna. I think it'll shift some. Where some people think, oh yeah, well we can get the job done, but no, I think it'll be like every other, I don't know what it's called, like Zika and SARS and or were those pandemics,
outbreaks and everything.
Outbreaks, yeah. I don't know what. I don't want to call them the wrong thing. If they were epidemics or pandemics or whatever. But with these outbreaks, I think it changes things a little bit. But no, I think eventually everything goes back to normal, and we all kind of go back to how we were doing things
I would say
before.
so, yeah.
So I think you'll see a little bit more of that change, but that change was happening already.
Yeah.
I think just because technology was improving, that had more to do with the work from home, deal. So.
One thing that I think is going to change is our over reliance on China as kind of like our manufacturer, China of manufacture of goods. So I think a lot of businesses place a lot of stock into manufacturing goods over there. Apple does it. I mean, a lot of technologies do it because it's cheap. I get it.
Good old sweatshops.
Yes, good old sweatshops. But I think after the travel industry is doing more of a shutdown, the companies that had suffered most from coronavirus are those with the supply chains highly dependent in China. Then,
kind of takes forces us to take a step back and really look at what can we get done here
exactly,
and
so
go back to the old ways.
Is this going to promote maybe America stepping up and manufacturing more of its own goods,
or
maybe is another country going to take its place? Like maybe India will, or maybe I don't know, some random country like Finland or something. I don't know.
Finland, great
who
production
knows?
over there.
Yeah, I don't know what Finland's like. I've never been over there. But I'm just using this as an example.
No, I bet it's more expensive to make stuff over in Europe. But no, I think we'll see that shift go back to America. This is my completely uneducated opinion here. Know nothing about this stuff, but no, I think we will, just because we're going to see how much we were relying on China and say, oh no, we can get this done in America. It's and take a step back, and maybe it'll cost a little more because people want more money to make things. But I think it's already kind of going that direction because of other reasons. People like American-made products. They realize they're made better.
Right.
And that's been shifting, as far as I could see, for the past few years or decades. People just like American-made products. So I think they'll see it more, so that'll start.
But that means businesses are going to have to take more of a cut then on some of their profits, and we all know that. Well,
you mentioned the CEOs taking the cut.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
airlines,
some of the Southwest Airlines and United Airlines CEOs foregoing some, or if not all, of their pay.
Yeah, so I don't think that'll be a big deal. I think people are doing it already, and they know they're going to lose money already. So.
Well, you would hope you would see kind of like a global unification of people working together.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be nice,
just in general.
Just like
everyone
knowing
just work together and get along.
Humans, knowing how humans react to stuff like this, and it's a lot about power and businesses and everything. It's difficult to say that what if politics becomes even kind of more, I guess, aggressive or nastier than they are now. Far right leaders in countries like France and Italy and Spain have already taken advantage of the outbreak to call for tightening of borders. What's that going to do going forward? Is it going to be more isolationism for countries? Are countries going to be like, okay, well, now that we've tightened our borders, we're going to keep it that way, for fear of other things coming in and out, or security or something like that? That could be an issue with it going forward. I mean, there's in America, it's already become hugely politicized. Have you followed any of kind of like what Trump has been saying, or kind of like what?
I don't follow politics. You know that. I don't vote.
We're not going to get into that. But nearly 70% of Republicans believe that the nation is prepared for it, compared to just 35% of Democrats. So it's splitting the lines even further down.
I think it's stupid to make it a political thing. It's not a political thing.
Well, it shouldn't be, but it is an issue because when you get into like healthcare stuff and you get into like, how you're going to prepare for it and combat the virus and, get medical supplies to people.
Yeah.
It's always a political issue because where are you going to get the funding for that?
Right.
Do you like certain policies that this person is doing? Can you do it cheaper? Can it do it better? So I think that's always it's going to be a huge issue going into this year's election. It's already a huge issue now. So,
yeah, well, if you saw the tweet earlier this week on the Weekendology Podcast Twitter feed,
yeah.
Every election year there is some type of outbreak, and that's going back to 2004.
That's insane.
So, yeah, it's amazing. And I mean, hey, conspiracy theorists,
strap on your tinfoil hat because
I gotta say I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I'm on board for that one because that's just too sketchy.
I'm gonna read it. I have the photo saved. So every election year has had a disease outbreak. SARS in 2004, avian bird flu I think in 2008, swine flu in 2010, the MERS disease in 2012, Ebola 2014, 21KA 2016, which I didn't hear about, Ebola in 2018, and now Corona in 2020. So there is a trend
that
goes on about that.
Let me see that picture.
It just like a whiteboard of somebody.
Zika.
Oh, is that Zika? Oh, shoot. I can't even read the handwriting on that. Oh,
I was
going to
say Zika. 21KA.
That's what I thought. Maybe I thought it was like the science term for it or something.
Yeah.
Or whatever, but no. Coronavirus is a contagion factor of 2. SARS was a 4, and measles was an 18. So
wow.
Even though coronavirus is so widely spread, it's got a cure rate from this photo or this news source of 99% of those affected under like a certain age then. So if you're under like 50 years old, you should be fine. Right. If you're over 50 and have like pre-existing health conditions,
and that's why I don't get
be careful.
This hysteria because I realize like anyone can get it. But look at the stats. And that's where I think we need to go through some of this stuff sometimes to remind ourselves and to not be so crazy. I mean, it kind of shows you how great the world is because people flip out about that stuff. And it's like, guys, we're fine. Like, unless, I don't know. I mean, and that's why I said earlier, show me these people that are healthy, 30, and dying. It's very, very few.
It's only like, I think I was talking about the lunch this today. It was only like 0.2%.
Yeah, when you're in a
death
decimal
rate.
point of a percent, like, come on. And it's these old people that are dying from it who could be dying from other things too. Right. So I just think you got to look at those facts. Just not to say, oh, it's no big deal, but just to kind of keep your head on straight and say, okay, this isn't a huge deal. I don't need to go clean out Costco and get all the toilet paper and
that's what I don't understand
sanitizer
is like why
wear a mask everywhere.
Why? I get the need to be prepared for it, but why do you have to have a run on survival gear? And stuff?
Yeah, it's not post-apocalyptic.
You're not stocking up for a year to stay in your house or something. But people buying thousands of pounds of non-perishable goods and cans.
That's why it's exactly like Y2K. It's people. They're not even looking into it, and they're just rushing to judgment and thinking, oh, I need to prepare. And it's like, no, preparation means wash your hands, like be clean, don't touch your face,
just
like basic grade school rules.
Yeah, like you've been taught basic that for years.
Basic grade school rules to not get sick in general.
Right.
Like that's how you prevent the flu. That's how you prevent getting a cold. Like any virus,
And I think people are just being a little bit irresponsible with some of the spreading for it. There was a couple cases in St. Louis that happened. Mm-hmm. The one girl who contracted it was from Italy or came back from Italy, took a train from Chicago to St. Louis. So like if you're coming back from where the virus is like it's most concentrated, wouldn't you be like, hey, I might need to quarantine myself for a little while? Yeah. Or there was another case where a dad like the dad went out into the public and then spread it around, and he already had some health issues.
I think it just shows how much people don't think. Like, they just don't think about. It's like the lady who was announcing it was like last week, and she was saying how you could prevent it, and she was saying, don't touch your face immediately after she touched your face.
I know.
She, like, licked her finger.
Well,
to
as soon
flip
as you
a
think
page.
about something, they'd be like, "Oh, I don't itch your eye or something."
Yeah.
Your eye is going to start itching.
Right.
So, but yeah, I get it. Like, people are they're not cognizant of just basic hygiene and like basic rules like that. Like, if you're sick, don't go out and spread it around to people.
And if you're on a bus or a train, like, and you touch, the pole,
right,
go wash your hands after that. Basic stuff you should be doing already.
That's your responsibility as just like a normal person.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I have a cold, I'm not going to go around and just like start breathing on people and spread the cold around. Or if I have coronavirus, it'll be fine. It'll bypass in a week or two. I'm not going to go around and spread that like that.
Yeah, like, be considerate of people.
Yeah, I'm going to go and stay in my house and tell everybody to go away.
And I think that's just culture nowadays with everything. It's either one side or the other. It's either nothing or everything. And it's like, just find that happy medium.
You would think that people would think like that, but they don't.
No.
So they either downplay it until it's an issue for them personally or like right in their area, and then they're just
or they
freaking
see
out,
it all the time, and then they're like,
just,
"Oh, well, it's got to be
losing
everywhere
their
now."
minds, and then they're just overcautious, and they're freaking out.
Well, and that's where I think the change is going to happen in a couple years, where we're going to look at this. Bold prediction here, going on a limb, but we're going to look at this and say, "Oh, haha, yeah," kind of like Zika or like swine flu or bird flu or any of those, and say, "Oh yeah, remember that?" Like, kind of defines that year or that time period and how much hysteria there was, and then it goes away, it passes, and I think hopefully we take this and learn, okay, this is what we should do if this were to happen again, because something like this is going to happen again.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And that way we're smarter about it. We're smarter about how we handle it. And that's why it kind of shocks me of how people are treating this, because this isn't new. We've gone through this stuff before.
Yeah. This isn't like...
And like you said, it's 100%. I'm on board. It's social media. That's why people are acting the way they're acting. But I just think this should be a lesson now that we have social media and now that it's a part of our lives so much, where in 2-3 years, when social media is still a part of our lives, don't freak out so much. Don't, go raid Costco. Like, just be calm, be smart.
Social media is such a powerful tool, so you have to use it in the right way.
Yeah.
And I hate how most of us are so reactive to certain situations like this.
In everything.
We're not proactive and doing things ahead of time to prevent these types of disease spreads or to prevent mass hysteria like this. And there's good things that can come out of this, but it's only because it's of a reactive situation.
And I think it's a lesson for politics, for literally
medicine,
anything.
For, governments, travelers.
Just look into things. I think that's the point is, you could react, but react after you've looked into it.
Exactly.
If you look into it and you're still scared, more power to you. But if you're just going to see a tweet and say, "Oh my gosh, I need to go get hand sanitizer and all this other stuff,"
that's just
and prepare.
fear-mongering,
like, do you know anything about it? Like, do you know how dangerous it is? Do you know the stats on the people dying? Do you know where it is? All these things.
And that. Hopefully, we're not causing more hysteria with this podcast. We're contributing to the problem. Hopefully not. But the goal of this is to educate everybody out there, to make sure we have a discussion about it, because we like having hard discussions sometimes, things that have to be
getting people to think
about.
a little more about, okay, is this a big deal? Why is it a big deal?
And what we can change on it,
too. Should we change it? Yeah.
One of the things that I was looking into about this was a lot of like these outbreaks or global catastrophes is that science and technology improves. So hopefully one thing we can get out of this is that there's a faster response time to containing this stuff, but also analyzing it, and technologies improve as it goes on. So I read this article. There's a rapid analytics of the genetic makeup in the virus in Washington State indicated that the outbreak was likely underway well before the first official cases were confirmed in late January. So that's very scary to think about. If like this has been undetected could have been a couple months beforehand. Yeah. We need to start detecting these things before to plan for things like this. Scientists at Stanford developed a test for the novel coronavirus that can deliver tests in as little as 12 hours. So that's much faster than the current models have. That's obviously going to pick up as the more we learn about it as well. So that could help other viruses or identifying them later on.
Yeah,
so,
no, that's great. I think that's another silver lining.
There are silver linings that comes out of this. Despite how it comes out, it will spark a certain response amongst the scientific community for things, which is what I'm all aboard for that, because I'd love for them to be able to cure the common cold.
I'm all for them, solving illnesses and preventing that in the future.
That's
having
the goal.
Less people die. Those are all good.
I was saying, like, proactive countries and societies and individuals are performing far better than the reactive ones. The governments that engage in truth telling and are heading off the dangers a lot faster than the ones that kind of delay it or shy away from it, which is what China is doing. They're controlling the narrative, censoring a lot of the people who are trying to speak out about this virus, where it came from, what kind of tests are done. The U.S. isn't even doing a great job of giving information on how many people are actually infected versus how many people have died.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Is very bad too. Like it
just brings this mistrust in your government.
Yeah, you don't want to incite fear and be like, yeah, thousands of people are dying, everyone should freak out.
Right.
Because if on national television,
if thousands of people are dying, we need to know.
But the public has the right to know that if things are happening, you have to be truthful in telling them that, so then they can be prepared for later on.
Right.
That's what my theory would be.
In a perfect world.
In a perfect world, but hey, I'm not in politics. I don't follow it that much, and I've taken an interest in this particular story, though.
This story really fascinates me. I'm always interested in how humans react to things and how they think, and I think this is just an interesting view on how humans are and how we interact and how we think, and just it's crazy how we react without knowledge. I just think that's fascinating.
And it's
and how you can go from 0 to 100 so quick.
And people follow other people, like, well, he's doing this, I need to do that. And
he's worrying about it, I need to worry about it too.
Yeah, that could be totally the wrong response to that. Or I need to go out and prepare to stay in my house for the next 6 weeks.
like I was saying, like the toilet paper. Why? Why is that a thing? I get hand sanitizer and soap, but why are we buying toilet paper? And I think, like you said before, off mic, it's just reaction. It's just, I need to buy stuff. I need to buy essentials, you know? And it's turned into a post-apocalyptic preparation thing.
There's a huge popularity surge in, cookingware or something.
Yeah.
You'd be like, well, a lot of people are buying up cookware. Well, I need to go buy up cookware.
So, I brought this up this morning. We're planning for the episode. It's like the gas crisis.
Oh, yeah, that
happened
too.
In
Texas.
Was that everywhere, or is that just Dallas?
I think that was in Dallas more prevalently, but I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I think it was like 2016.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, there was a gas shortage, supposedly, and people went crazy, and in a week they were just bringing the red gas cans to gas stations.
The ones you fill up the lawnmower with.
Yeah, and filling tons of them up.
Jeez.
And then constantly filling up their cars. Well, they created this problem, and gas stations literally had no gas. They were out. You'd go to a pump, and they'd be completely out of gas, and they would drive gas prices up. And it was... if people would have just
simple supply and demand, people.
Maturely, and said, oh, okay, there's some shortage. I need to be, careful with how much. Not, I need gas, I need to make sure, and then steal it away from everyone else. Like, they created the problem, and I think that's what we're having again, where people react without thinking, then they make the problem worse, and they're creating this price surge. And
but it makes sense too, because like if 30,000 people are going out and buying hand sanitizer or toilet paper,
they're creating these other problems.
You're creating the panic buying mode of, well, I need to go get some before they're out and I don't have any. And then obviously that's going to cause the price to go up because their demand is huge and there's no stock.
And then Will gets called 6 times in a row by his parents.
Yeah. I'm calling you out, Mom and Dad.
We know you're listening.
We know you're listening. But I think it raises some interesting questions as to what happens next after the virus. What do we do? Do we let fear take hold? Do we let it change our daily lives and behavior until the next one, or until a cure is developed? Do we stop going outside? Do public gatherings decrease? Or what happens when people get sick? Do we go to the hospital, or do we just isolate ourselves for fear of infecting others?
Well, and that's what I think that's interesting to think about, because after this, when this is all said and done, if you were scared of the coronavirus,
you're going to be doubly scared of whatever next epidemic that
and
comes
how
up.
could you say, okay, now it's okay for me to go to public gatherings?
Right.
You can still get sick.
Yeah.
So if you're scared of this, why wouldn't you be scared
You can
of
still contract
any other kind of virus or
Yeah.
any kind of new virus? Because, then that's where I'm saying, where does this end? Because, well, what if there's another, the constant what if question. What if there's another virus out there? I don't know. And that's worse, and public gatherings aren't safe. Like, okay, then just don't go to anything. Like,
exactly. So how
this could never end.
It's
with
a
that
slippery
mindset.
slope of, well, I don't feel safe. I'm just never going to do anything at all. And this sets a precedent too for whatever future global crisis comes out. Are we going to instill stricter regulations next time that there is an outbreak? Are we going to say, martial law of if there's an outbreak, then nobody goes out of their house, or the price of medical goods goes up immediately?
It sounds like a post-apocalyptic movie. You can't leave your house, and
it honestly,
there's nothing in the stores.
People react the way that all of the movies and TV shows portray them as. It's like
movies and TV shows just making fun
if there's
of
a
us.
zombie apocalypse like tomorrow, people are going to react in the same way. There's
Maybe
mass
this is the
panic.
start of zombie apocalypse.
You never know.
Maybe the people
this is
infected
the
with
real world
coronavirus
zombie
are zombies.
apocalypse. Yeah, but it
know.
raises some interesting questions. Like, does coronavirus hurt the standards of people who get it? If you say, "Oh, I had coronavirus," do they shun you socially?
Oh yeah.
Do they say,
Guaranteed.
"Oh, get away from me"? Until there's a cure.
Yeah.
And even after, if there's a cure, like, "Well, I don't trust the cure then," or something. You can't be around us.
Yeah, I don't think if I got it, I wouldn't disclose
Are they like
it.
lepers now, or just like cast out into like the
Well, why wouldn't you be treated like that? Because people are always seeing it, and and I don't know. I mean, it could be this terrible, horrible virus. Like I said, I don't know anyone who has it, so I think it's like the flu, though, to my knowledge, at least, or like a bad version of the flu.
It's like pneumonia. It's like a bad version of pneumonia. But
right.
What I don't get is,
but people are hearing about it all the time.
Yeah.
So if you told me that, I still would think, oh, whoa, that's really bad, even though I know nothing about it.
why are we not talking about the flu as a bigger pandemic than coronavirus? Because the flu kills more people and has a higher mortality rate than coronavirus does, at least for now. I mean, there's millions of people affected by the flu, and just in last year alone,
And the same type of population is
80,000
dying
people
from the flu.
that died. Yeah. So, we only have 3,800 now. It's not to say that coronavirus might not turn into that. I hope it doesn't. But why are we overhyping or talking about this so much?
I think
instead
too
of
how
other
fast
diseases?
it grew. Because
Maybe, yeah.
the flu has been around for forever. And now with the coronavirus, like it came out. We heard about it in January. Now it's March, and it's risen so much. And for America, it's in all these different states.
Right.
It's not just in Seattle anymore, and it's it's closer to wherever you live.
Right.
It's by you.
I would love to see what the impact has on the people who are like the non-vaccination mindset too.
Yeah.
Whenever we get a cure or a vaccine for this, are people going to be like, "Oh, we have to get the coronavirus cure"? Is it going to be like a flu shot every year, or get your base measles vaccination or stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it would have to take it sticking around for a long time for that to turn into that type of vaccination.
Like, we would hope it's not like a yearly thing like the flu. It's like, oh, it's coronavirus season now or something. Like, oh, it's flu season. Gonna get my flu shot. Gonna get my coronavirus shot. 'cause
January.
It's
That's
season.
prime coronavirus time.
Exactly. So, but it influences your mindset, and these are questions that I think you have to ask to, I guess, see what comes next. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's really extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have to be.
These are all extreme scenarios that
I'm thinking that would have to be
playing
like
out here,
20 years of people keep getting it, without a slowdown, and then I think too, it'd take a while to develop a vaccination.
It's going to take
for
at
it.
least 12 to 18 months. So that's what the experts say. But the WHO has been pretty good at kind of like putting regulations and safeguards, and they've been very truthful of, the rates of infection and kind of being very transparent with everything. So hopefully the CDC and them can work together and they kind of know what exactly it is to get rid of this.
Yeah.
But
What do you think this is doing for Corona beers?
I bet their stock has just plummeted,
man.
like down below. People probably won't even touch a Corona. Like, find your paradise
Either
somewhere
that
else
or
something.
everyone's drinking it because they haha,
Or maybe, yeah. See, I actually read somewhere that people actually thought that the virus comes from the beer itself.
Oh, they would.
Which
that would be a thing.
100,000% does not.
It's from Mexico. That's why we need to build that wall.
Oh God! Like, the sheer stupidity of people sometimes is just like astounding. It's bad. One of the interesting things I was reading though was, since we were relying so much on delivery services or like Uber drivers or people who
that's a former episode too.
Need to
Look
go
at us.
outside to do their jobs. With people staying inside, does it affect their type of business or work as well? Does it? Maybe they lose jobs later on because we don't go and rely on people delivering food to us as much, or we don't take Ubers as much, or we don't.
Well, wouldn't we rely more because we don't want to leave the house?
No, we wouldn't. We just wouldn't go outside we'd isolate ourselves for fear of contracting the virus. So people who rely on people like that kind of work, it could be.
Well, how do you eat then?
You just
don't eat.
People just stop eating altogether. You just go to the grocery store and pick up whatever you need. And then
wouldn't that be more
back.
dangerous to go to the grocery store than rely on an Uber driver?
This is the
deliver you
stupidity
food?
of what people think
That
might
makes
happen.
zero sense. You're going into more of a public place to get food.
I don't know.
I think you're going to see a rise in Uber Eats, and I bet they're like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
Maybe.
And in Favor and Grubhub and all those people.
I don't know, because I don't know if I would want to
and they're gonna
trust
they're gonna
somebody
drop
else,
it off and text you and say, hey, it's downstairs, and just leave it on the street. You have to go down and pick it up. And go
or
back
they're
to your house.
coming in hazmat suits or something. And
It's like in Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Where his brother was afraid to go outside.
Yeah.
And he had to have his like that silver blanket.
Yeah, like a space blanket.
Yeah.
We're just going to have it they're going to start selling.
That's what it's going to be like.
You buy your own hazmat suit or something, or it's going to be wearing hazmat suits around, or people are going to be like, DIY your own hazmat suit on YouTube or something, stop the corona spread. And
not going to be able to use batteries now.
Yeah. That's going to start happening.
Yeah, there's going to be some
continues like this.
Some crazy rumors of where it comes from, and people are going to be like, oh, well, don't eat this, don't do this.
I don't know.
It's kind of like how everyone thinks you can get cancer from doing literally anything.
Oh yeah, eating processed meats.
Yeah,
or,
it could turn into that.
Wearing, talking on your cell phone too much, or
yeah,
watching too much TV or something.
Opening a microwave.
Yeah, staring at the microwave while it's on, or just not sleeping enough. You get cancer from that. So
right.
I don't know.
I bet that's what's next. It's going to turn into, that's how coronavirus started.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Don't.
You know what's coming.
So, yeah. But we want to hear what your guys' thoughts are on coronavirus. Are we overreacting to all this with the massive event cancellations and public freakouts, or are we justified in taking extreme precautions and safeguarding against the spread of the virus? We want to hear what your thoughts are. So check us out on Twitter. We're at Weekendology Pod. We're on YouTube at Weekendology Podcast as well. Check out our latest episode on Apple Podcasts, where we talk about the life lessons that movies can teach us and how they influence society. Much less of a downer topic as this, but
like post-apocalyptic movies. They
exactly.
influence how we,
Maybe we'll do an episode on post-apocalyptic movies and how they've kind of intertwined with the real world. I don't know, something like that.
Wasn't that the last episode? Is that what we did?
Well, kind of, yeah.
We could do one just on
just on post-apocalyptic movies
and how that's influenced our attitude towards
or disaster
outbreaks.
flicks or something. Like 2012 or Twister, or world-ending movies or stuff like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, check out that episode. Be sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio. You can check me out on Twitter. My own personal handle is William Deichley.
It's a good follow.
Aaron, where can they find you?
You can find me at Aaron Levi Berg.
Exactly, Aaron Levi Berg.
That's me.
So until next time, adios, au revoir, sayonara, and goodbye, our global travelers and listeners.
Hopefully you're not traveling globally right now.
Yeah, stay at home, isolate. No,
quarantine yourself.
No quarantine. But we have new episodes every Friday, so until then, we'll see you guys next week.